Welcome to the Nuggets Inc. podcast, presented by no one. I'm your host, Matt Schubert, joined once again by Bennett Durando. We got a bunch to get into. Game 4, Nuggets, Thunder, heartbreaking loss, and ugly at the same time. Lots of bricks, lots of air balls. We get into 36 hours. Oh, what a debate that is. And we get into Nikola Jokic's struggles, OKC's defensive game plan, and the hero that is Aaron Gordon. All that and more coming up next. And we are back for a special edition of the Nuggets podcast presented by nobody. Bennett Durando, joined via the wonders of technology, walking around the concourse at Ball Arena hours after a heartbreaking Game 4 loss. It was sitting in the palm of their hand after, I don't know, maybe the ugliest three quarters of basketball that arena has ever seen. And then the Nuggets just fall flat in the fourth quarter. Series is tied 2-2.
At least the ugliest one quarter, I'm just going to say. I don't know about the second and third.
I think the ugliness of the first quarter is enough to make it the ugliest game. That was dreadful.
Fair.
That first quarter of that game. Absolutely dreadful. And I'm sure we'll be hearing from many people about the 36 hours thing. My hand is playing the tiniest violin for these professional athletes that have to play a basketball game 36 hours after they played another basketball game. Tough life. Cost the Nuggets, though. Bennett, your thoughts?
Look, I don't think that they can use it as an excuse. David Adelman said as much. Nikola Jokic said as much after the game. They were not trying to point to the league's scheduling.
It's not even a back-to-back. It's 36 hours.
And look, I think Exhibit A is that Denver was so good on the second game of back-to-backs this year that there's a pretty sufficient sample size of them being especially capable in these situations on tough rest. That said, I think that
and I like that you had the qualifier. Now let's some excuse making for the 36 hours.
I think the NBA should have known what it was walking into, shooting itself in the foot from an entertainment quality standpoint. That is my sort of view of it. I think that the shooting game that both teams have was extremely predictable under the circumstances because this happens all the time in the NBA.
Wait, hold on. Were they shooting the lights out in Game 2? Did I watch a different Game 2? What Game 2 did I watch?
What are you talking about? Game 2 wasn't a matinee.
I'm just saying. They didn't shoot the lights out in Game 1 or Game 2. It's not like
that's really good logic. So because a team doesn't shoot well in a certain game for one reason, then
I'm refuting that the 36 hours is the reason that they've shot poorly. I think if you have eyes, you could recognize that the players on both teams were tired. Yeah,
and
they would have been.
Were not getting a ton of lift.
Okay, so you're saying if the game was played 6 hours later, that those 6 hours would have magically made them that much better to play this game and just shoot incredibly and entertain us like no team has ever entertained us before?
Genuinely, yes, there's a better chance of a high-quality game from a shooting standpoint. Yes.
The 6 hours.
Yes, absolutely.
Man, those 6 hours. What amazing 6 hours that must be.
No. It's not just 6 hours. It's the way that you structure your schedule during the time between games, being able to do your walk through the morning of the game, being able to go through your process and your routine as you ordinarily would. And look, I ultimately it's just goofy that the league would combine the regrettable late night tip off that screws over Central and Mountain times, and a matinee early game of a doubleheader 2 days later. It's the fact that you're combining those two things. It's just like that. It's so avoidable. And so I think that just from an entertainment quality standpoint, you are reducing the chances of getting high-level offensive basketball, which is what the fans want. by setting up the schedule this way. I don't think it's the reason the Nuggets lost. The Thunder were also playing through the same thing. They were able to kind of land the last punch in the fourth quarter. I think you can have two different conversations here and point to it as a factor in the inefficient shooting from both teams versus saying that the Nuggets got screwed over by it.
Outside of the Thunder's, I guess I would say game 2, has anybody really been great offensively in this series?
I mean, game 1 was 121 to 119.
It felt like a gritty game.
Sure, I guess Jokic had 42 and 22. Shea had 34.
42, but he
game.
shot. He shot like, what was it?
OKC's role players were incredible in game 1. Game 1 was a really good offensive game. I mean, this game was 92 to 87. The team what are you talking about? This was a brick fest.
What was game 3? What was game 3?
All of these games, there's a through line in all of these games, Matt, where there has been physical defense and a high level of competitiveness and an urgency as if it's a game 7. That has been pervasive throughout the series. What is different in game 4 is guys airballing wide open 3-pointers because they do not have the legs. That was not happening in game 3. It was not happening in game 2. It was not happening in game 1. And it's both teams. I think it's perfectly fair to say that, the Nuggets had 4 air balls in the first quarter and 2 made shots. And the Thunder were not much better.
It was ugly. It was ugly. There's no doubt. I will not argue that. In fact, I believe that's how we opened the podcast.
I mean, they're just tired legs. I think it is completely factual to say that. Without labeling
I agree.
it as a reason for the result of the game.
I agree with the tired legs, but I also think it's the 4th game of a grueling series, and also the Nuggets just got done with a 7-game series right before it. I don't think it's as much about this 36 hours as it's going to be made out to be.
Okay, why do you think the Nuggets lost? Why do you think they missed all those shots?
I think they were tired.
All right.
I agree with that. I think they would have been tired if this game was played at 6:30 or if it was played at 1:30.
Maybe so, but I think that you are underestimating the value of the NBA routine and the fact that these athletes are on robotic schedules about how they go about their game day. This happens in the regular season too, where teams do not look as sharp on a matinee coming off of a night game. And I think that we're just underestimating a little bit how important the routines are on game days for these players, how they kind of have this animatronic way of going about their business, getting through the shoot around or the walkthrough or whatever it is, having a nap before a game. There is a routine that these guys do close to 82 times because the vast majority of these games are night games. And then you have an overtime late night game turn into a matinee. And there's just a little bit of an effect there, but it's an effect on both teams. I'm not standing here and being a homer and saying that the league screwed over the Nuggets because that's not what happened here. But I do think that when we're looking at 17-8 at the end of the first quarter, it's fair to do some critical thinking and say, all right, well, what's going on here? That's all.
Okay. The Nuggets shot 31% from 3 in game 1, the 121-119 game, 44% overall. Let's see. Let's go to the next game.
Part of this, by the way, this is just what the Thunder's defense can do to them too. When you look at the shooting splits in the other games of the series,
see they shot 40% from 3 in the game where they lost 149 to 106.
Yeah.
But 37% from the field.
Yeah.
So I'm just going through these. They haven't been shooting well all series. It looks like to me. And
I mean, like, Matt, have you watched the basketball games? Like,
I have watched the basketball games.
did you not watch Michael Porter Jr. airball a wide open three?
25% for OK. Oh no, sorry, that was OKC. 40% from three in game 3, 45% overall.
Did you not watch Jamal Murray
Game 3.
down 5 at the end of this game put a ball short of the rim?
I thought that was just a bad shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was off balance.
I'm willing to hear that argument a little bit more.
It was off balance, and it just wasn't.
But he didn't get lift. He did not get the lift because these guys had tired legs. I think it is just like an objective truth.
No, I stipulate that they were tired. I think they're tired at 6:30, just like they're tired at 1:30. But we've belabored that point. It's time to move on. I get it. You think the routines are sacrosanct, and you know the NBA better than I do. You're around it all the time. I think overblown.
Just worth noting real quick, the Nuggets were 0-4 in afternoon tips in the regular season, I think.
So they're just a bad afternoon team.
That's one way to put it. I do think they won a Clippers game on an afternoon tip, though, so they have that in the playoffs.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, so let's get to the game outside of the 36 hours that's going to be talked about by everybody and for the next 2 days. Just really looking forward to that discussion. All right.
Well, Matt, you know what? Real quick, the best part about that is that now, as the sort of ripple effect of the short turnaround before this game, there's a slightly longer turnaround before Game 5 with just in terms of the hours count, which means more time to reflect on the short window.
We're gonna see the greatest basketball game we've ever seen in our lives now because of that extra 12 hours they're gonna have, and the fairy dust that will be sprinkled on them in those ensuing 12 hours.
Maybe so. I bet they'll have fewer air balls.
Yeah, that could be. It could be. I think they're going to be dead tired throughout the rest of this series. The Nuggets, at least, because they're going to be playing every other day up until Game 7.
Yes,
and that's
the longer this series goes, it's tough for them.
I just feel like that's kind of what you get for getting pushed to 7 against the Clippers. Is that you're going to be on a bit of a rest disadvantage. You're going to be tired, and frankly, it's probably why they're not going to end up winning a title. Is it's just going to be tough because this is going to be another 7-game grind if they get through it, probably, right? At least a 6-gamer.
For sure.
And so they're going to go into that next series, and they might get a Timberwolves team that's just dispatched the Steph Curry-less Warriors in 5. So tough road to hoe for the Nuggets. So last time we talked was, I believe, after Game 1. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we've had 3 games since then.
3 games since then. One was just absolute just destruction by OKC in Game 2. Not a lot to learn from that one. And then Game 3, some of the same notes as Game 1. It gets to crunch time. What do you know? Aaron Gordon's making big plays, and the Nuggets pull it out in clutch time. Starts to look like that's how this series is going to go. And then today, the opposite. What do you think happened there in that fourth quarter outside of just the tired legs that we've already talked about?
Well, Oklahoma City's bench started to make a considerable impact where Denver's couldn't. I think that's where you have to start. And that is why the longer this series goes, the more it favors the Thunder. They played 9 guys over 13 minutes tonight. Denver played 6.
Yeah, and Westbrook. This was kind of Westbrook's.
Minutes.
This was kind of Westbrook's first stinker too.
Yeah, I would say so. Denver played 6 guys, double-digit minutes. They played Peyton Watson 9 minutes, Julian Strawther 5 minutes to kind of fill out an 8-man rotation. OKC was able to play 10 guys total. So you have that already. Caruso goes for 10 points, makes 2 threes. Wiggins goes for 11 points, makes 3 threes. Cason Wallace, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. And it's Wallace and Wiggins really who lead an 11-0 run in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And there's your difference. Like the bench scoring was 35-8 for OKC in this game. The longer the series goes, the more helpful it is going to be able to play 9 or 10 guys. That is the Thunder's superpower. We kind of knew that this was going to be the reality for the Nuggets from the beginning, that they were going to be stretched pretty thin among 6 to 7 guys, 5 guys to a more extreme extent than that. And, the depth does matter to an extent. And aside from that, I think once again, while we had kind of generally substandard games from both Jokic and Shea makes a couple of huge baskets down the stretch to kind of give OKC separation. He gets to his spot, I think just outside the paint, makes a high percentage look to put OKC up by 3 with 4.5 minutes to go. Adelman takes a timeout. Out of the timeout, just a brutal mistake from Denver. OKC shows a full court press on the inbound. They basically have 2 guys who are stuck in the corner. Porter kind of doesn't flash strong enough, and the side of his body that would be receiving the ball is the left side, which, as we know, is not as reliable as the right side right now. Aaron Gordon is way down the floor in the front court because he's going to be part of the half-court play that they have set up out of the timeout. Jokic is trying to kind of flash into the backcourt too late. They get a 5-second violation. Brutal turnover to have out of a timeout at a moment like that, down 3. Shea hits a midi on the next possession, I think. Just 2 really nice kind of mature shots under pressure from Shea. Suddenly it's a 5-point game. Denver doesn't get it back within 1 score for the rest of the day after that, except for on the last second bank shot from Gordon. But
I think there was like a second and a half left at that point. So
yeah, exactly. So it was ceremonial. But so look, I this was once again like not a great game from Shea. I think Jokic probably technically outplayed him through 3 quarters, just in terms of his ability to get to the foul line at least.
Missed those 2 free throws though. Those 2 free throws were pretty big.
Yeah, exactly. He misses a couple of big free throws. By the way, Shea makes a couple of big shots down the stretch.
Funny story about those 2 missed free throws. Something happened with the local feed. I don't know if it was the national feed or the local feed, but as he's going to the line for these 2 big free throws, the broadcast cuts away to a women's hockey game, a PWHL hockey game, for about a minute with no sound. And I'm like, I'm just scrambling, trying to figure out what happened. and eventually it came back on. But yeah, I missed the 2 misses from Jokic because of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is good stuff.
And I'm probably not the only one. I'm guessing I wasn't the only one because I'm pretty sure I saw on Twitter that a few other people were tweeting about it. So.
Wow. Well, you didn't miss much. So that look, I mean, like that's it's a small thing, but those free throws would have made it a 2-point game. Right. Instead, Jalen Williams makes a layup at the other end. It's a 4-point swing. Yeah. And it's like the little things like that sequence and the 5-second call turning into another quick bucket for Shea. And then suddenly the game is just kind of out of reach.
How much do you think that elbow injury is bothering Jokic? Because he's missing free throws now, which is not something he usually does, especially 2 in a row. And he's done that, I think, 3 different times in this series at this point. And clearly he's not shooting well just overall, and he's short on his 3-pointers. He was way off on Friday night. Oh God, that was painful to watch.
Right.
How much do you think that is? I mean, he's wearing a sleeve out in public now. It's kind of weird.
Look, I think that he is bothered by it a little bit. I think that his shooting motion always kind of gets irked. When he's forced to wear that sleeve. It's something that has lingered for months at this point throughout the season. We've also seen him have really good shooting games through that, though. So, he we all know this. Anyone who listens to this podcast knows this, but like he would, you know, rather die than admit to the injury almost like impacting him. But I think there's a little something to it. I just think that like, I don't know, this has been a bad series for him overall. And like, you know, he deserves to shoulder kind of a lot of the responsibility for why Denver maybe isn't in an even more favorable position. Now you can flip it around too and say if Aaron Gordon doesn't make 2 3-pointers, then the series is over right now and it's a Thunder sweep. But Jokic, since his game one, 31% from the floor.
And it should be noted that game one to game two, there actually was a schematic change defensively for Oklahoma City. It was
that's true.
Chet was guarding him in game one. He was the initial.
Yeah.
And it's been Hartenstein, post Malone All-Star, Isaiah Hartenstein, who's been the guy on him for most of these last 3 games.
Right, with Chet sort of roaming off of, Gordon, Christian Brown,
right.
Whoever they kind of, depending on Denver's spacing, whoever they kind of decide is the link that makes sense for him to roam off of. And that is kind of their base coverage with Jokic. Like that's what it was in the regular season. I think that they might have just been trying to like get a little too gimmicky maybe when they started the series with a little bit more Chet on him, just straight up like that, and Hartenstein not as kind of the direct on-ball matchup.
Also, second Jalen Williams has been roughing him up quite a bit.
Yeah, he has been. So, look, they've played really physically with him. The lack of a whistle that Jokic has gotten in the post seems to be bothering him to the extent that he is, like, playing for the contact as much as anything and is very focused on kind of the war that he wages with the officials throughout a game. I think it's kind of acting to his detriment right now that he's so focused on that. And look, he just has not been able to figure out how to kind of get deep into his spots and score. And that's why he has kind of taken like he goes 0 for 10 from 3 in game 3. It's amazing that they won in spite of that. But like, if Hartenstein plays him in drop and when he posts, they push him out on the catch and they have Chet and a small lurking right behind him. And if it's someone like Caruso, who is so savvy at like recognizing the spacing and having the scout, like he is ready to jump back and deny a cutter. That happened again tonight. I actually don't know if it was Caruso or a different defender who made the play, but they anticipated the Russ cut kind of off of his entry pass. So they're really good at being on top of all of that and taking up space and kind of just denying the passing lanes that Jokic likes to thrive on. And on top of that, they're really good at recovering to the outside when they do double. So like, that's why this has been a historic defense this season. It's really difficult. He's just had trouble when they've got multiple bigs on the floor at the same time against him, I think. And then some of it is also just kind of Jokic's own fault. Like you just kind of have to be that guy in the playoffs and step up and be hyper efficient and be a really good scorer. And he hasn't been an effective scorer or facilitator right now. Like, since game one, averaging 21.3 points and 5 assists, both of them well under his season averages. On the series, he has 21 assists and 23 turnovers, I think, which is just kind of wild to think about, the turnovers exceeding the assists. It's been a bad series for him. And like, he's the highest paid player. He's the best player. He owns the mantle of best player in the world. So he kind of has to shoulder a lot of the blame for this right now, I think.
It's been back-to-back series where he's dealing with just a ton of attention and bigs who can be really physical with him. I think that's kind of worn at him a little bit. The Clippers series, it was Zubac. And now, as we just discussed, they've got basically three guys that they can throw at Jokic.
Yeah. And their smalls are so feisty.
Right.
Like,
right.
They're great at reading of his frustration. Yeah.
They're great at reading passes and they're getting their hands in and making the double at the right time, like collapsing at the perfect time to sort of make it difficult on Jokic. So, you're right. It has been a rough series for him. That said, he was great in game one. Just hasn't found it since. Jamal Murray is also game 4 was not a great game for him. There was you mentioned the shot near the end of the game. There was another possession where I believe Caruso got switched onto Jokic at the elbow, and for some reason Murray went away from that and ended up. I think the ball ended up with some other 3-point shooter with like a second left, and it was just a really bad possession. I can't. You recall the possession I'm talking about?
I can't say I do.
It was late in the fourth quarter. Anyway, larger point. He's also dealing with really good guards. Lou Dort, really physical, real floppy. They've got other guys that they're throwing at him. Although Lou is kind of turning into Chris Dunn, where they're just encouraging Lou Dort to shoot as much as he wants, and it's not really working out well for the Thunder.
It's working right now. I'll just say this: like Lou Dort made 8 threes against Denver in a game in March against the same strategy. He shot it, I think, 41%. This season.
He's got great numbers.
The Nuggets kind of have no choice but to live with certain things, right? And if the Lou Dort 3 is one of those, then it makes sense. But Lou Dort is kind of above this general standard, this like baseline percentage of what you expect to be the guy who gets left alone. And that is part of what makes the Thunder so dangerous, is that you're not leaving a guy who's 26% necessarily. You're leaving a guy who is still capable of being a very good shooter.
Yeah, just hasn't been for wide stretches of this series.
Right. And when he's not, like, suddenly Wallace is, Wiggins is, Caruso is today. So that's
Caruso's been spectacular for most of this series. I've really been impressed with him.
Yeah, his game 1 was like a career night. It was incredible that they didn't win with the game they got from him.
Yeah, and he was, I think, good today too. Yes, but back to Jamal again. He's struggling. How much of that is just him, and how much of that is he has to go against his defense?
I think a lot of it is the defense. I actually thought that his game 3 was better than the 40-point game he had against the Clippers.
I agree. He was really good in game 3. That was his big game.
He was phenomenal in that game. I think he was the best player on the floor.
Yep.
He was like absolutely in control, playing at his speed against an absurdly high level of difficulty in the defense, as both a playmaker and a scorer, getting to the spots where he makes tough shots like only he can. I think he had 8 assists. It probably could have been twice that. He had a few really extraordinary passes that just turned into missed shots. He kind of runs the floor really well, pulls the ball out, tries to kind of survey his options at the end of the game with Denver down 3, and then makes the skip pass to Aaron Gordon in the corner and just hits him right in the perfect spot where Gordon can go up with that shot and rhythm. And that's ultimately what forces overtime. Murray was incredible defensively in overtime. He had that incredible 2-way sequence with the swipe on J-Dub and then the coast-to-coast around the world dribble, the lefty layup that put Denver up 7, kind of put the game away. You can't give him enough credit for like what he was able to do in that game, with Jokic having one of the worst games of his career. And they're 2-2 in the series in large part because of him. I think that we kind of went into this series expecting him to have more quiet games than loud ones, just because of who they're up against and the fact that it's not just Lou Dort, but that the Thunder can cycle all of these fresh legs onto him throughout a game. And like, you can trust Cason Wallace to play really well on him. Like, if they want to switch J-Dub and have him play some on Murray, they can do that. Like, again, this is just what makes the Thunder so difficult and why I, made the pick that I made, which was Thunder in 5.
That's not going to work out.
And to Murray's credit, because of an incredible, like, kind of sneaky legacy game that he had, my prediction is already wrong. This series is going at least 6. So, like, can they find a way to get at least one of these 3 games to be that Murray game again? And then can you get the Jokic game to kind of finally show up, maybe staggered from the Murray game? And that, like, is that your route to 2 wins? I don't know.
Well, he's shooting 40% from the field in this series, but also 40 from 3, averaging 19.8 points a game. You need a little bit more from him than that, I think. Made up in some part by, Aaron Gordon's been great. And Russell Westbrook until today has been pretty darn good too. And Christian Braun has had some moments, but what is the formula just what you described? They grit out a couple more games by having some sort of big explosion from their 2 stars?
I think you need a Murray game on the road.
So game 5 or 7.
Yeah. And they have to win game 6. They're not going to win 2 games in Oklahoma City. You got to find a way to win game 6 at home, even though this bizarre postseason has like a 500 record for home teams right now. And you just need that Murray kick or that Jokic kick in a road game that can kind of get you across the finish line of another kind of similarly ugly, gritty game to this one.
So you don't feel confident they could win a game 7 in OKC?
I don't. No.
I
don't think it's impossible.
I think
if they get it there,
that's
then
what I mean.
All bets are off. Obviously,
that's what I feel like. Is just get it to game 7. And you want to talk about pressure, that's going to be a real pressure game, and it's going to be squarely on OKC.
It's going to be squarely on Denver, too. But yeah, I see your point.
I don't think it's as – I mean, they fired their coach with 3 games left in the regular season. They're kind of playing with house money.
That's fair. I think when you widen the scope, they're playing with house money. I don't think that their players will be thinking about it that way in the moment of a game 7 on the road when – Oklahoma City is screaming at them.
Yeah, you might be right. I think, get it to game 7, and I tell you, it feels
hope things tighten up. Hope that it's a 5-point game or a 3-point game with 6 minutes left, and then see what happens.
And then I think you got a heck of a chance to pull it off. The problem, of course, is that, like we just discussed earlier, then there's the Timberwolves. In the next round, and they might win in 5. Quite possible they end up winning in 5. Although Draymond Green might injure somebody between now and then. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. Ultimately, it's if they have won today, it would feel like there's way more of like a feasible path to the finals with everything that is in front of them in the next 2 to 3 games against Oklahoma City, combined with if they somehow make it through this, the nightmare matchup against Minnesota, it's pretty hard to see them coming out of the West, I would say. But look, you never know. Like, the team has shown an extremely impressive amount of toughness and resilience in these playoffs. It's kind of funny. Like, overall, whatever happens from here, I think under the circumstances of what happened with Malone and Booth at the end of the season and the depth of the team, the roster just being worse, the record being worse on paper than it had been the last couple of years, like winning that series against the Clippers and putting up this fight against the Thunder is commendable in its own respect. And I think if they lose the series, they've kind of earned this right to go out with their head held pretty high. At the same time, I think they're kicking themselves about losing this game and how close they were with an 8-point lead to going up 3-1 on a 68-win team.
Yeah. And then, they have a stranglehold on the series. Yeah, it's tough. One last thing before we go. Aaron Gordon. Has anybody elevated their stature more in the playoffs than this guy?
It's incredible. I mean, he is he might have gotten his number retired with the last 3 weeks of basketball.
Yeah.
Like it's enough that he's a champion in Denver and has kind of had a little bit of a fan favorite sort of label for the last few seasons. But for him to have the game winners he has had and then the game tying 3 at the end of game 3 of this series,
the regulation, with that, how many seconds? It's a couple seconds, right? 3 seconds, I think, when he hit that.
In game 1 it was 2.8 seconds the game winner. Game 3, 26 seconds.
Oh, that's
the game
right.
Tying 3.
That's right.
Yep. And it's like I said. I mean, they might have been swept by now if he misses those 2 shots. So his jump shot improvement this year is truly incredible. Everything that he's been through in the last year, it's kind of funny. After game 3, David Adelman gets through a 10-minute post-game press conference, and there was so much to talk about from that game. He gets to the end of it, and we hadn't asked about Aaron Gordon hitting another big shot, and he just kind of gets up, and as he's about to walk off, he's like, by the way, Aaron made a big shot, and walks away. And it's almost like you quickly reach a point where you almost take it for granted that he's just become this reliable, steady hand in these clutch moments for them. But yeah, I mean, incredible player, incredible postseason run. He's had very good defensive games in this postseason too, against Kawhi Leonard, against Jalen Williams. He does so much well for Denver, and he can bring the ball up. It's he is extremely versatile, and he's still going to be at a pretty reasonable salary next year, or a cap hit at least of around $22.8 million, I want to say off the top of my head. So gosh, for a team as stuck against the second apron and everything as Denver is, having someone like Aaron Gordon, who is as versatile and effective as a two-way player at that type of money, is massive. And we can talk about, do they trade one of their second, third, or fourth options this summer when the season ends and all that? Aaron Gordon is making it very difficult to stomach the idea of him being involved in a move.
Right. But that being said, they'd get the most return probably if they traded him.
Yeah, potentially. That's the cold-hearted business side of this, is that it's kind of harder than ever to evaluate Michael Porter's value, just considering what he's been playing through in this postseason and had quite a few clunkers, including today. But
well, there's a legitimate reason for part of that, though, too. I mean,
I know
his left arm was duct taped to his shoulder. He was heroic in Game 3. He was fantastic in that game.
No, he was incredible in Game 3. So I'm not saying that his value has just gone up in flames in these playoffs or anything like that. I'm saying that the fact that he has been playing through the injury has made it harder for him to string together a consistent stretch of really good games, and that makes it harder to improve on his value, which just kind of leaves him in limbo in this kind of weird area where what could they get for him, that sort of thing. So it's tough.
So here's the numbers for Aaron Gordon in this series: 45%, 45.8% shooting overall, 54.5 from 3, 86.7 for free throws, 10.8 rebounds a game, 3.3 assists, 17.3 points.
Not bad.
Heck of a series he's having.
That's through today?
That's through today.
Man. Yeah. I mean, he has been, I don't know, maybe just like overall consistency standpoint, their second best player.
Yeah. I agree. He's you could argue he's been the most consistent of all of their players.
Yeah, actually, fair point. I mean, because it's been just a weird postseason for Jokic, man. Like,
yeah. I think we're going to learn that elbow injury is more significant than maybe he's let on. I mean, and he's playing through it, and he's not going to, like you said, he's never going to reveal how bad it was. But the shooting, the free throws seems like the biggest indicator to me that's bothering him.
Yeah. By the way, between Jokic missing those 2 free throws and Aaron Gordon going to the line shortly afterward and splitting a pair, I kind of feel vindicated in what I said about the end of Game 1 for Oklahoma City.
What's that?
The game management. The fouling up 3 and doing it as quickly as they did, and Dagnall got, hammered for all of that. But what I said
should have got hammered and was hammered properly. So
what I said after that was, if you had presented the situation to OKC and said, Jokic and Gordon are going to go to the line and shoot a combined 4 free throws with Denver trailing by 3, then OKC is feeling pretty confident that they're going to miss at least one of those 4 free throws. Tonight, those 2 guys missed 3 out of 4 free throws down the stretch.
You're not knocking
In fact, I think Gordon ended up missing a couple other free throws when he got fouled on a 3 at the end. So, I'm just saying, to an extent, you can criticize what OKC did at the end of Game 1.
Oh, I'll go the full extent. I'll go the full extent on that, Bennett. You're not knocking me off this corner. I'm sorry, you're not doing it. It was dumb in real time, and it remains dumb now.
Also, to an extent, Jokic and Gordon made their free throws, and there's a pretty realistic outcome where one of them misses 1 free throw and the game is over.
Don't foul a guy 75 feet from your own hoop. How about that? How's that sound? Seems reasonable to me. I don't know.
I don't know.
Call me crazy. Don't foul a guy 75 feet from you. That's a rule I'm just going to throw out there for the rest of my life.
I do think Adelman has mostly coached a better series than Dagnall.
The challenges from Dagnall have all been disastrous.
The challenges have been bad. Some of the stuff that Denver has shown Shea selectively throughout the series, the way that they've deployed kind of matchup zone, it's been pretty impressive. There have been, Adelman took the fall for the 5-second situation today, as he probably should have. And, he is not immune to his own mistakes. He's had a couple of his own bad challenges, but overall, I think he has once again coached a pretty good series to have them at 2-2, despite, I think, a minus 46 point differential in regulation now. So
double,
not too bad.
Double the postseason wins compared to regular season wins. Give me another coach who's got that.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Adelman. He's got twice as many postseason wins as he does regular season wins.
Oh, yeah. God.
So, I mean, name me another coach like that, Bennett.
I had forgotten about that. That's pretty funny. So he's 9-4 after this game. So worst case scenario, they lose in 6, and he finishes 9-6 as the interim coach.
Yeah. And he pushes the number 1 seed to 6 games, has 2 epic close wins. Do you think he's got the job?
I think he should. I really think he should. I could see them maybe doing some due diligence with other candidates, but gosh, when you have a guy who your players like and you're seeing this sample size of them playing really hard for him, like even the fact that Denver is in this game in spite of a historically bad shooting game, like they are playing hard at the defensive end. They are ascending at the end of the floor where they were weakest this year. Like, I think that speaks for something. I think that the buy-in has been really good. I kind of have enjoyed, I think everyone has kind of been endeared by this sort of distribution of communication and leadership in the huddles that Adelman has endorsed, and Adelman has not kind of had an ego floating above the national narrative that Jokic is coaching his team and everything. So I don't know. I think Adelman has handled a lot of this so well. And you're always taking a risk when you make an outside hire, and is he going to click with certain players? How is this going to go? What's the locker room dynamic going to be? The thing with Adelman is that they know what they have, and I do think that's important.
I was thinking about this the other day. Do you think Michael Malone's even watching? If I was Michael Malone, I would have a tough time watching these games. I'd be so conflicted. I
would too.
I mean, I'd want everybody to succeed because I know these people and I've been around them for years, but it'd also be like you have to hear about how it was the right move to get fired with 3 games left in the season. And I just don't I think I'd have to like go to bed or something and just like completely unplug from the situation if I was him.
If I had to guess, I would say he's rooting against the Nuggets. not out of any personal vindictiveness toward any of the players or the coaches on the team, but simply out of human nature for the situation. Yeah. And
that's why I wouldn't watch the games. I couldn't watch that's if I were him, I wouldn't be able to watch. It would be painful. The whole thing.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I don't think that he has like resentful feelings toward any of the guys who are actually on the floor and on the sideline and all that. But like, he's a competitive MFer, and he probably doesn't love the idea of all of this. Oh my gosh, the Nuggets made the right move, and look at how great the situation is now that Malone's gone. Like, he can't like that.
No.
And he shouldn't like that.
No, I would. So nobody would like that. Nobody like nodding along like, yes, you're right. I did have to. Nobody would be doing that. Hey, Ron, could you watch the games if you were Michael Malone?
Like myself, I know he's an avid mountain biker. I'd be out riding. I think he's out riding.
There you go. He's on the trail.
Fair enough.
I could see it. I wouldn't be able to watch. It would be really difficult. Same with Calvin Booth. It would be the same thing. Although it's a little bit different with Cal because he put the team together just in some.
Yeah, I do think it's his situation does kind of feel different, just in that, like, if they win, is it a testimony to his roster that he put together having been good enough the whole time? Like, there's more of a case with him to root for the Nuggets and for that to kind of make him look good in terms of future job prospects, I would say.
Speaking of fired coaches, the Rockies, in one of the more gutless moves you'll ever see, fired their manager of 9 seasons during the 4th quarter of a Nuggets playoff game. Can you believe that, Bennett?
I tweeted it. It's a devious news dump.
I'll call it gutless.
Dastardly of them.
For one thing, that guy's been with you for 9 years, and you're just trying to like basically get this out while nobody's looking. Unbelievable. At the same time, they are 7-33, so I understand why they fired the manager.
Yeah, happy trails to Bub Black. The couple of times that I've met him filling in on Rockies games, he's been a delightful person.
Yeah,
so.
great guy.
Yeah.
So it can get worse, Nuggets fans. You can be the Rockies.
Exactly.
So game 5, you're flying out tomorrow. You're gonna live up the Oklahoma City nightlife, but get in your routine. As we all know, the most important thing that there is in the world. Got to have that routine, or else it's air balls in the fourth quarter. What do you see happening in game 5?
I think they lose.
Rough.
I don't remember if I said it on the last pod, but I kind of felt like game 5 I had penciled in as a comfortable win for the Thunder. And I felt like if Denver was going to win the series, they needed to win both of the home games, games 3 and 4, and go up 3-1 and then have a shot to win one of the last two. That's kind of the way I viewed it.
So you're saying that the Nuggets aren't winning the series then?
I mean, I've been saying the Nuggets aren't winning the series since before the series.
Thunder and 5.
Look, they're 3-game series. Like it's difficult. It's the Thunder should be favored. They have 2 home games and they're a 68-win team.
Younger legs, more legs, better rested.
Yeah,
it's.
We'll see. We're still waiting on like a legacy game for Jokic or for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander after the last 2 games. So,
well, Jokic had game 1.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Shai was really good in game 2. Like they both had a good game in OKC. I just think that like the feeling of tension around that is heightened by the fact that they both were pretty mediocre for their standards in games 3 and 4. Like there's like a build up right now of who's going to have the next big game first.
When are they announcing the MVP?
They have not said. It seems like it is not happening during this series, which is just baffling.
Why would you avoid doing that? Don't you want to
Does not make sense.
Just adds another storyline, adds a little bit more spice. Like that just, I don't know. I'm not a marketer, but it does seem like good marketing to me. Call me crazy.
If they aren't announcing it in this series, maybe we'll suddenly hear that they're going to announce it before game 5 or something. Like who knows? But the league has botched it, no doubt.
Yeah. I just went on the site earlier today to see what it stood with the voters who have revealed their votes, and it does look like SGA is going to win it.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a doubt. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, it should be noted. Our man Bennett Durando has been doing this Bob Costas style with Pink Eye, delivering you fantastic coverage. So when you think of that, think about Bob Costas in the Olympics and Bennett Durando, 2 Hall of Fame Pink Eye performances. Has anybody commented on the eye, Bennett?
I've been doing my best to wash hands, stay kind of to myself the last couple of games, and the eye hasn't looked that bad. So
well, that's good. So,
I'm doing all right.
That's good. And nobody's giving you guff?
No one to this point. Now they might, now that you're publicizing it to the world. So that's great.
Well, we could always have Aaron delete this portion of the podcast. Aaron is shaking his head no. It's been a heck of a series so far. Can't wait for game 5. These games have just been battles. I mean, it definitely feels like if OKC is going to get its playoff medal, it's going to come through this series. This is going to be the one that sort of makes them. And I think they've even said that. I want to say
pretty much. Yeah.
So, Aaron, you got a prediction before we walk away?
Nuggets in 7.
There you go. Nuggets in 7.
All right.
I feel like if the Nuggets get it to 7, I do think they win. My original prediction, I shouldn't say my original, my latest prediction was Thunder in 6, which we are on track for right now.
I'll say Thunder in 7.
Thunder in 7. A 7th game would be fun. And that would be a Sunday game too, I believe. Another afternoon game. So, I mean, obviously the Nuggets are doomed because they can't play before 6 p.m.
Well, they would have 2 days off. It would be the only game in the series with 2 days off leading into it. So, kind kind of nasty work by the league. I'm just gonna say you can put 2 days between games more than once in the whole series. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough. I went looking through like old series schedules just to see if this has happened before. I couldn't find an instance right offhand, and I believe that Minnesota and the Warriors have a couple of 2-day off scenarios, which is great for the Warriors because of the hammy injury with Steph. But yeah, brutal, absolutely brutal, and you could see it today. So, all right, Bennett, enjoy your time in the I don't know what do they call Oklahoma City? It's the city of brotherly love. Does it have a nickname? Is there it feels like it's not a nickname kind of city. Oh, and my phone has died. So we're pretty much done with Bennett. That's our podcast.
Looks like we have another dragon, Master Ace, spitting the burning passion. It's about to be a catastrophe. Thought I was the only survivor, but at last we meet. Like the food vegans don't eat. I know you can see the infernal blaze. We would probably burn the stage and leave it with 3rd degrees. And inside of us is an eternal blaze, blazing eternally like a furnace. But it's so hot it's burning the furnace's frame. Your family and furniture isn't safe. Better evacuate, cause the skill we can calibrate reduces the chances of your survival if you ever try to retaliate. So dance to this recital so you can slowly gravitate towards us. Who needs a chorus when you're hotter than Earth's core is? No strings attached with no puppets, yo, we're cordless. I fly even when I'm hurt, yo, that's soaring. Your skill isn't apparent, it's an orphan. We proceed to spit the verse that takes your spirit and lifts it high into the earth's atmospheres. Don't come at my sphere of influence, you squares. I take a spear and put it through you, I raise the stakes. Ha, medium rare, you're the least of the media's fears. Why he's the reason the media's scared. Please be prepared to be impaired. Go see repairs, defeating people in pairs. Jordans, I thought I needed pairs to be compared to the people in pairs.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Gather round hip-hoppers as if you're still living. Still got love for the game, I'm still giving and still driven. Like Diddy in the Maybach. I've been reppin' for the city since way back. All y'all rappers better stay back, cause you still can't find me. I'm a needle in a haystack, a rare breed sitting high up in the chariot. What y'all do is getting high up in the Marriott. Well, consider this your wake-up call. If you're married to the game, this the breakup call. And you ain't wearing a crown if you're not tearing it down. You clowns get found right there in the ground, 6 feet, dirt nap, that's because your shit's weak. I'm a giant, you a pipsqueak. Welcome to my kingdom, yup, the throne has an occupant. Read my name at the bottom of the document. Check the scroll, giving good times like Esther Roll. Peace to Keithy E, God bless the soul. Trying to get more checks to hold. On some slick Rick, Mr. T shit, big chest of gold. And the flow still extra cold, like the North Pole, cocaine snow, another lost soul. Bow down, it's the Grand Royal, yup. 20 plus years in the game, and still the fans loyal.